And we're live. Woohoo!
We are live, yes.
Not our normal night, but
Yeah. Not a normal night, yes, but change. You gotta change it up a bit sometimes. You gotta keep the audience on their feet, DJ.
according to most stats, changing your day is actually not good for your streaming. But it is what it is. We don't mind.
Don't listen to everything you read, DJ. They're lies.
Hey, I'm just saying, like the people that have, few 100,000 to a million subscribers are saying, like, hey, consistency can, matter. So
We're pretty consistent. I don't know what you're talking about. The one thing
uh,
that's changed it up.
so uh, sorry, folks, again that we don't have our intro video. Uh, they're still working on it on Rumble's end. I spoke with them the other day, and they said that a few other people have reported the same kind of issue.
Yeah.
So something did happen on their end, on their system. So hopefully it gets fixed, so that way we can have our awesome opening video back. But until then, just get to deal with us right away. So yes, if you're watching, thank you for checking us out. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already. And we do appreciate it. Always welcome comments in the comments section. If you are familiar with the series that we're reviewing, we'd love to hear your thoughts on it, especially the episodes we're talking about. If you have suggestions for anime series or movies or tokusatsu movies or series that we should check out, please let us know. We've got a laundry list of stuff in our backlist that we want to get through to talk about and share our thoughts with all of you. But
And we can cover anything. This show
yeah.
is like open to anything. We're not stuck in one little genre or category. We're open to any sort of suggestions.
Yeah.
You want us to review Mean Girls? Sure. Screw it. We'll review Mean Girls.
We'll have to talk about that one.
No. I'm kidding, of course. You want us to review the Marvels? Sure. We'll talk about that.
Am I going to have to kick you out of here?
No, do not send us to review the Marvels because we will not do that. Because
Yeah,
we enjoy our free time and we would like to spend it doing something else.
I really don't want to die young from an aneurysm from watching that movie. So no.
If you want us to talk
Now, if
about
we could watch, there's Marvel anime movies and shows we could review.
that is true.
Those.
Yes, if you want us to, oh my God, yes. If you guys want us to watch Hulk versus Wolverine, yes, absolutely. You want us to do the next Avengers? Hell yes.
So, and then there's even some good DC animated movies and stuff.
Oh, the DC animated movies beat the Marvel animated movies out of the water completely.
Yeah.
Even as a kid, I knew that. I was like, "Oh, this is so cool. This is so much cooler than the others."
Yeah. So maybe eventually we'll get around to some of those. I know I've got a pretty big collection of both. So
yeah, I would love to go over what is it? Oh, Batman: Mask of the Phantasm, because that's one.
I still need to get that one.
That's one I haven't seen in like a while.
Yeah, unless it might be in my animated collection bundle. Yeah. I'll have to check.
Yeah, that one, and like I know there's a lot of good animated Superman movies out there too.
Yeah, Public Enemies was pretty fun.
Yeah, what was that other one? Oh yeah, the Return of the Dark Knight, the animated one, the part 1 and part 2. That was pretty good too.
Yeah. But anyways, this week we're talking about Ultraman Orb.
Yes. Ultraman.
So, last week we started out the series with episodes 1 through 5. This week we watched episodes 6 through 10, and it's only a 25 episode series, so pretty short, just a few weeks to talk about it. But very good, good crew, good cast, characters. The kaiju design so far have been awesome, and a lot of dynamics to the series, and definitely highly recommend watching it if you haven't already. So, before we get into the nitty gritty, your overall thoughts of episodes 6 through 10?
Uh, I think these episodes are probably the worst sort of Ultraman episodes I've seen. They're not very enjoyable. I don't have a good time with any of them. Not kidding. Nah,
Yeah,
I'm kidding. I found these episodes actually, I think, better than the first 5 episodes. Honestly, I think they tackled a lot of more interesting subjects, and the kaiju were like, I think, well, some of the kaiju weren't as cool. I think as in like the first couple of episodes, but there were one or two of them. I was like, you know what? Actually, that's pretty badass. I do like that.
yeah,
Yeah, and also too, there's like a pretty big progression that happens in episode 10. Where you're like, oh damn, okay, that got settled. All right,
yeah.
so we'll talk about that when we get to it. But yeah, no, I think these episodes were a big step up from the first 5, and I'm excited to talk about them.
Cool. Yeah, I enjoyed them, and I appreciated some of the different takes and avenues that they went with it. Um, it's the one episode with the kid, kind of introduced a whole new um, perspective on
Yeah,
on the series, and it's not the first time that
you talking about the one where he has. You talking about the imposter one?
no, that's another one that's pretty interesting.
Uh,
The mer people.
oh, that one. Okay, yeah, the one with the adult and the kid and yeah,
Yeah.
Mercury's. Yeah, that's right.
Now there's other Ultraman series where like the aliens work with the humans and things like
Yeah,
that.
because I figured like because I'm pretty like familiar with the fact that like not all the kaiju in the Ultraman universe are like like pure evil. Yeah,
Yeah,
like pure evil. They're not like freaking destroyer. They're like no, they have some good qualities to them. Some of them are jerks. Some of them are just misunderstood. So I kind of like that variety with the creatures in the
yeah,
series. Like even in Ultraman Rising, they don't really portray the kaiju in that film as like being inherently evil. They're just like giant monsters, and Ultraman's kind of coming in to like keep balance between humanity and the kaiju, so they don't like kill each other.
yeah. And it's always fun when you have with the Ultraman series when you have like the human sized aliens and then you have the kaiju's.
Yeah, because it gives the humans more of like a personal threat rather than like them trying to take on like a freaking 50-meter tall monster. You're like, okay,
They're little pea shooters.
yeah, exactly. That's when you're just like, okay, when's Ultraman going to show up? Because you ain't going to do anything against that monstrosity. So I don't know what the hell you're doing.
Yeah, there's a couple series where where like there's a human force, kind of like the Uncle's VTL in this one,
Mm.
and they're literally like shooting at the kaiju with like pistols, but they're like sci-fi pistols, so they're shooting like lasers or something like that. But
And
it's
still
still
don't
like, it's like come on.
I mean, it's
So
every Godzilla movie. It's at that point you're just expecting a soldier just to go up and just say, "Guys, why are we doing this again?" Like every single time they show up, we don't do anything. It's always the monsters that take each other out.
I will say, at least in one of them, they did have like modifications to their weapons where it actually did like affect the kaiju,
Yeah,
but not enough to like take them down. But
yeah, no. There's always they always like manage to upgrade their weaponry to at least where they're able to stagger the kaiju a bit, but not
yeah,
like kill them. Which I'm like, okay, actually, good job, I guess. You
yeah.
did something at least.
So we might eventually we'll get into one of those ones, either Ultraman X or Ginga. Those are those are two of the kind of around the same time era as Orb,
Okay.
but both of them kind of have that kind of aspect to them. So,
Yeah.
but we'll jump into episode 6, get the ball rolling, so we don't
Yes.
bore our crowd. uh,
Sorry.
so yeah, so episode 6 opens up with a UFO, and we see a group of aliens talking about the downfall and destruction of Earth. And we find out that they're called the Planetary Invasion Syndicate. So their leader is literally called Don.
Yeah.
Uh,
On
so
Nostra or something like that.
yeah, Don Nostra.
Yeah.
Um,
He kind of looks like he kind of resembles what's the guy's name? Mephiles or something like that. That like one alien that like appears in Ultraman. He was in Shin Ultraman where he like took on
yeah,
like a giant form and like
yeah.
fought him. I think it might have been Mephiles or something like that.
Sounds familiar.
I think that's his name. But yeah, he kind of looks like that kind of alien, or the same species. I mean,
Yeah. So, but what's funny is the voiceover. Even though it's in Japanese, it sounds like an Italian mob boss.
it kind of
Uh,
does, honestly.
so imagine Japanese Italian mob boss. It's funny. So like I said, they're sitting there talking together. Juggler pops in and basically agrees to work with them because he wants to take down Orb. Um, then it cuts over to the SSP group. We got Shin and Jeddah doing an online picture match search, trying to find out more about Guy. And Jeddah does get a match, and Shin dismisses it because the match is a picture from over 100 years ago.
Yeah,
And when you see when they show the picture, it is literally Guy.
yeah. No, it is.
Because it's the outfit that they always show him in when he's doing his flashback. So,
Mm.
but once again, they dismiss it, and so it's pretty funny. And then they cut to Naomi doing laundry and talking with her mom about suitors. So that's a little interesting picture into my understanding of, kind of how life is in Japan for young ladies.
Yeah,
Uh, and just as she finishes up her conversation, her uncle shows up and tells the SSP team about a pic of a spaceship in the background near a local forbidden forest. So before we go further, what was kind of your thoughts going on through this kind of opening segment?
oh, well, I think the introduction to the syndicate that we like meet and like the opening of this episode is like interesting because like I think that's like a cliche or like a very like sort of like formula like you're used to in this type of genre where like you always got these aliens that kind of like just form an allegiance because they're just fed up with the hero, so they're just like, let's band together. I don't like you, but let's join forces just for this
Yeah,
one. So I kind of like that introduction to the series, and also I find it interesting that that they allude to Guy like being alive for that long, which to me makes sense because I'm like, well, he is an Ultraman, and Ultraman I'm sure live way longer than any human ever does. So I'm
yeah,
sure so that makes sense why he would be like over like a century old, maybe, or even older than that.
yeah,
So, but it was interesting seeing that like kind of like progression. So, and then hearing about the ghost, or like hearing about that haunted forest, kind of like brings an element of like supernatural and like fantasy, which is kind of like interesting to say the least. Especially to be brought into an Ultraman series because it's mostly like heavily sci-fi.
yeah,
So when you get these moments of supernatural, you're like, oh, okay, that's a bit different.
yeah. And it's something that like even they're not familiar with,
Yeah,
like aliens and Ultraman. They're,
yeah. They're not used. Yeah, because I think it would be funny if the aliens don't believe in ghosts and the ghosts don't believe in aliens, and then they come across each other like, oh, look at that.
yeah. It's like the old M&M commercial where the M&Ms meet Santa Claus, and both of them are like, they do exist. And
Yeah, he does exist. They do exist. Fucking paints. Here's exactly how it would go down.
So after Naomi's uncle, I keep forgetting to write down his name. So,
Let's call him that. That
but
or the old guy.
yeah. So after he gets done telling them, and they look up stuff on the computer about it, cuts over to back to the UFO and Juggler's playing kind of like a poker game with the various kaiju cards that they have, and pulls out a winning hand and taunts the aliens that he's playing against. I can't remember if the boss cuts in at that point or if it just jumps straight into going back to the SSP group.
I'm not sure. I think the boss comes in, or it might be like later because I know that Don Nostra does introduce like the one card that Juggler is like after.
Yeah, he doesn't. I know he doesn't show up until later on, but I couldn't remember if he started talking to him. But so basically, the next thing happens is the SSP group are at the woods, and they decide to go in to explore. But before they walk in, Naomi actually notices the ghost girl.
Yeah, it's like this young-looking woman in like this huge, like white cloth dress who like phases in and out.
And she disappears right before the others look in that direction.
Yeah, like she like shows up like right at the opening of the forest, like right there, and then like about to walk in.
So, so after the group dismisses what Naomi was saying because they didn't see the ghost, they walk in, and shortly after they start walking into the woods, aliens get an alarm, so it cuts back to the UFO. Does a lot of back and forth in this part. Cuts back to the UFO, and they've got like warning sirens going off because they're hiding out in the forbidden forest.
Yeah, the UFO is like buried underground in that area.
Yeah.
So when the aliens is just like, well, I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna go taunt them, maybe even kill them.
Yeah. And they also, before he heads out, they activate a device that basically creates like a barrier that forces them to stay within that barrier. So no matter what direction that they go, they just pop right back in into the forest. So after a couple of times doing that, they start kind of freaking out. And then, of course, the alien shows up and starts hunting them. And what's weird is he's got like 2 human bodyguards.
Yeah.
Or at least human.
Yeah,
appearance.
I'm thinking it might be something like almost every other alien we see where they have like a human disguise.
Or robots.
Or robots, yeah, that's true. Yeah, or like cyborgs.
So, yeah, they don't really.
They don't do them.
They really don't say anything about it.
They just follow them around. They're like agents from Matrix. They don't talk at
all. So.
Yeah, but they get into like a whole chase scene. Yeah. And everywhere they go, the alien always shows up like right in front of them or like right next to them, so they can't really run. But then
Naomi trips over a monument at one point.
Yeah, I think so. And then the ghost lady shows up again, and that's where she kind of like leads them to like a way to get through the whatever kind of like machine the aliens are using to keep them in the same area. So they like make it back to the entrance of the forest and manage to like push their way out of it. Yeah, and that's how they get through it. But then the aliens like show up right in front of them again, and they're like, I don't know how the hell you ever do that, but prepare to die. But as soon as they do that, you start hearing the harmonica play.
Well, before that, Uncle tries to fight the alien.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he's about to do freaking karate, and then gets his ass
thrown away. Yeah. He's like, I'm a master of. I'm like a 5th degree Dan black belt or something like that.
Yeah, that didn't mean anything.
Yeah.
I thought too. I was like, oh, okay, maybe he'll actually be able to do. No, never mind.
No.
Yeah, I was like, well, okay.
So yeah, so after he gets knocked away, that's when you hear the harmonica tune playing,
Yeah, and that's when Guy
which
shows up.
drives the aliens all crazy.
Yeah, it's like the sound of it. Like we
Yeah,
even see that with Juggler, where kind of Juggler kind of like respond.
gets a headache from it.
He doesn't like respond as like badly as they do, but like he does get, yeah, like you said, like kind of like an aneurysm, like a bit of like a headache from
Yeah.
like hearing it. So
So,
yeah, Guy shows up, then he gets into a tussle with the aliens and does pretty good against all three of them.
and what's really cool about this fight is, like he starts off by jump kicking the alien, which because he was on top of a building nearby.
Yeah,
But as they're tussling, the alien actually shoots at him, and he just deflects it.
I
He
didn't even
actually
notice.
deflects the like laser blasts.
Oh wait, yeah, that's right. I remember that.
Yeah, and and I think the crew ran away by this point,
Yeah, he told him to get out of there by now.
but yeah, I mean, that shows like his power in human form, like
Yeah,
you know,
that he's like, yeah, even stronger than a regular human. So it's just
yeah,
like, oh, damn. Yeah. But
and
also,
we got
yeah, but also it's a really good fight. Like, I got to mention that too, is that like even the human fights in this show are like really well choreographed,
yeah,
which is something I
definitely.
very much appreciate. I love a good choreographed fight. Because
Yeah,
sometimes here in America, our fight scenes can suck.
yeah, like you could see them whiff from a mile away, but supposedly they landed the hit.
Yeah, but other than that, it's just like it's like a cut every punch. Cut, cut,
Yeah,
cut, cut, cut. I'm like, stop! I want to see the action. That or shaky cam, just going like this the entire time during a fight scene. It's like, wow, dude, like
yeah.
seriously?
Yeah, there's some movies where they've made an effort to try and get back to like pulling it out. Let's see
Yeah,
the actual
yeah,
action.
thank you.
Let's
Yeah,
see the
thank you.
dance.
Yeah, thank you, John Wick. Thank you, Mission
Yes.
Impossible. I'm like, thank you. Yes, that's exactly what I want to see.
Um,
Like Shang-Chi too. Like first Marvel movie I can tell what the hell is happening in the fights when they're not CGI.
uh, the Daredevil series did pretty good with that too.
Oh yeah, Daredevil too. I forgot to mention Daredevil. Yeah,
Yeah.
Daredevil. Yeah, Daredevil.
Uh, so, so as Guy is fighting the alien, kind of coming out on top, Juggler shows up and summons a super beast, as he calls it.
Yeah.
And at the same time, the UFO rises up and kind of heads into the stratosphere. Uh, of course, the SSP group is seeing all this, and then Guy goes off to the side, transforms into Orb, um, and pretty much goes straight to his hurricane slash form.
Yeah. He doesn't like
Pulls,
waste any time. He's just like, no, forget this.
yeah,
I'm
pulls
gonna
out
go
the
OP on this guy.
pulls out the slugger lance, like knocks the guy up and just blows him away.
Yeah, just destroys it. Honestly, I forget what the kaiju this episode looked like. I
Black
guess
King. It was kind of like a Godzilla esque look.
no, I think Black King is later on in the episodes. I think Black King is episode 10.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because I remember Black King. He looked
Yeah,
cool, but this kaiju was like the fact that I don't remember what it looks like tells you that like, the design.
it was on and off the screen so quickly. So
I know that's the thing. It just it just died because Ultraman was just like, yeah, no, I'm not dealing with you. I was
yeah,
go straight to Hurricane Slash, and I was like, oh damn, okay, you're not even giving him the time of day.
so
Well, also because Orb was pissed off because he was like, you're like destroying like all of like this like
yeah, he wanted to preserve the
cemetery.
forest.
Yeah, like the forest, but also like this like sort of like cemetery, like had
Yep.
like a lot of like spirituality to it. So he's just like, oh screw this. So then he just started like so then he just killed the kaiju because of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously after he kills the kaiju, Juggler and the alien are gone, and so he returns back to his human form, meets up with the SSP group, and then Jet realizes that he hit the record button at the wrong time, so he didn't get any of the action.
This guy never checks his camera before he starts recording. I'm like, how do you check the camera first before you start recording, sir?
So
You
he
don't
forgot how many
actually-
times to hit the button.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my god, dude.
And
I'm like,
that's the end of that episode.
yeah, but then before that, yeah. Well, also we got to mention like at the very like end, we see Guy kind of look back and he actually sees the ghost girl.
Oh yeah.
Like a good old like nod. So even he is aware of like the spirits that surround that area. So that was it. But yeah, no. After that, the episode comes to a conclusion.
Yep.
It's a fun episode. Good episode. Very cool fight scenes, especially both human, but also the kaiju fight, because I just found it funny how this orb went straight to like the top level and just went, "Now I'm gonna kill you." I'm not messing around this episode, which is funny because I'm always just like, why does he always start off in his base form? Like literally just goes to the top one and just finish off these fights. These fights would last so much shorter, and he does. And I'm like, there you go. Look at that. Took care of it in like under a minute. That's what I'm talking about.
Yep. So, jump into episode 7. Opens up with a woman having a dream about a kaiju.
Yeah.
And like in her dream, it's real foggy and kaiju's mysterious and everything.
Yeah. All you see is a silhouette, and it's like blue eyes, like looking at her.
Yeah. And so she wakes up, and
She draws a picture of it too.
Yeah. So she does a sketch of it, and then
posted to her a blog that she has on where we see that she's been doing this for a while, where she's had dreams about these kaiju or these like events, and she draws them and then she like puts them on like some like online forum that she has.
Yeah. And then that's when it cuts over to the SSP group and they're reading her blog.
Yeah.
And they start noticing that the date and timestamps of her posts are literally prior to the events happening.
Yeah, like almost everything that has happened in the series so far, she has predicted, and they've all like come true.
Yes, and so they, and at first they're like, did she just update, change the date? And they're like, no, I checked the server, and there's no editing.
Yeah, it's like been the same since.
So, yeah. And then Guy walks in borrowing clothes from both Shin and Jet. And they're complaining to him about it.
And they're like, what are you doing, dude? Like, why are you taking my shirt?
In shorts. Yeah. So while they're doing that, Naomi gets onto the computer and shoots a message to this woman, asking her, saying like, hey, we investigate this kind of stuff. We're very interested to hear your story. We want to see how your dreams correlate with these events. Mm-hmm. So she agrees and comes to their shop to talk with them, and she reveals that she's had the ability since she was a child, but she's never been able to like alter any of the events that she's dreamed about.
Yeah.
And so during this conversation, she gets frustrated because of that and ends up walking out. Which Naomi, you can see kind of regret on Naomi's face after the girl leaves, because she wasn't trying to like attack the girl or anything like that. She's just,
she was just fascinated by what like this power that this girl has, but also because I think later in the episode they reveal there's even like a deeper connection about like why she was so advent or like connecting with this woman.
Yeah. So then it cuts to the woman having another dream, and this time shows like Ultraman in a fight and getting hurt. Mm-hmm. And just as soon as he gets hurt, she wakes up and Guy is nearby playing his harmonica. And then she looks at him and goes, "You're Orb."
Yeah. He's like, huh?
He's like, "What?"
Yeah. It was funny because in my head I was like, all right, now I have to kill you. I'm Orb, I have to kill you now. Just as soon as she says, "Your orb," it's like,
Yeah, because they're in the middle of a park, and there's of
yeah.
course
He's like, "Shut
all
up, shut
around.
up!" And like, of course, as soon as she says that, a bunch of little kids show up, and he's like, and they're like, "Where's Orb? Where's Orb?" He's like, I don't know. I don't know who Orb is. Orb? Where? I didn't see him." So, it's like the classic Superman, Spider-Man thing where it's like, "Oh, you're Superman, or you're Spider-Man." God damn it.
I saw a little clip online, um, and it involved Lois Lane talking with the Scooby Doo crew, and everybody's being introduced, and then Velma takes her glasses off, and Lois Lane goes, "Who are you?"
Oh my
And
god.
they're like, "It's Velma," and she puts her glasses back on, and she's like, "Oh, hi, Velma," and then she takes them off again, and she's like, "Where'd Velma go?"
Oh my god. Jeez. So stupid.
So, just a little dumb thing that I saw the other day.
Yeah.
Uh, so, anyways, back to the story. Orb and the young woman, go somewhere private to talk with each other, and uh, she tells him about her predictions, and he implores her to like help him out. He's like, you can't give up. You can't just resign yourself to what you're seeing. You have like,
Yeah.
there's always a chance to fight it.
Yeah, he's saying like you can't give in the fate, like just because it's bound to happen. He's like, sure, you can't change much in the past, but the future is still undefined. There's still a chance to like alter it. So it
Yeah.
kind of gives her that kind of like idea.
Um, so then it cuts back to the SSP group, and Naomi's getting dressed as a cow for her job. And I think the uncle comes in and mentions that he saw a guy and a girl talking in a park, which gets Naomi upset. uh, she shows her first signs of jealousy. Um, and then she takes off to go to her job. Uh, and then it cuts to the woman, um, Haruka is her name. Uh, she's trying to post on her blog to try and warn people about the kaiju popping up the next day and like the fog and everything. And of course, she gets a lot of naysayers saying like, "Oh, the weather says it's going to be clear, and what is this? This BS and things like that." So she gets really upset and is like, basically says, "This is why I don't bother," kind of thing.
Yeah, because a lot of people are just like, "Nah, this is creepy." Like I call this a hoax and stuff like that. Just like being internet trolls.
Yep. Um, so then it cuts to the next day, and just as the woman predicted, huge fog cloud rolls in and the monster appears.
Yep.
So Guy runs up and is getting ready to transform into Orb. She tries to stop him,
Yeah.
but he tells her, "No, I have to fight, even
Yeah.
if I'm meant to die, I gotta fight." Like,
Yeah. Doesn't he? Yeah. Doesn't she also? We heard mention. Doesn't she also have a dream of him like getting blasted out of his Ultraman form and like her trying to like wake him up?
yeah, he gets shot from the back.
Yeah, and like that. Yeah, and she tries to wake him up, and then that's like another dream.
Yeah,
Besides the one of her like where it like immediately cuts away from Orb getting hurt in her dream to her waking up. There's like another part where like we see a continuation of that same dream, and it shows that.
yeah. Um, so so Orb transforms. They start fighting. Um, I think he starts out in Hurricane Slash. No, he starts off right in Burn Might.
Yeah, with Taro and
Yeah, Burn Might.
yeah,
Um, so they're fighting back and forth, and then the kaiju uses the smog or the fog cloud to warp behind Orb, after making it look like he fell down. And so Haruka yells out to Orb about the sneak attack from behind, and that allows him to retaliate and come out the victor.
Well, the thing is though, that, like he starts losing like a lot because the kaiju kind of feeds off her negative emotions almost.
Yeah,
It kind of feeds off her like negativity about the future and like giving to fate. So then, like as the fight progresses, that's when she's like, "No, I'm hearing back about his words and stuff like that." So then that's when she starts cheering on for Orb, and that's when he's able to like get a hold of the situation and
yeah.
takes down kaiju.
And the kaiju essentially just stops.
Yeah, like it gives up, and I think it's not even like a huge explosion or anything like that. Like even when like he hits it, like the final attack, it just kind of goes like just kind of like fades away.
Dissipates.
Yeah, because
And
even
actually,
even he realizes that standing down, so he doesn't act like aggressively to
yeah,
kill it. He's just like, all right, so he just like ends it.
yeah, and it even shed like a tear like afterwards. So it was a pretty interesting dynamic um, on how the creature and the woman were tied together. So, um, and then uh, basically the one, it wraps up with Haruka kind of saying her farewells to the group, and then just kind of going off into the sunset. So, on to episode 8.
Well, also don't forget that like the biggest thing we found out too is that Naomi also has
Oh yeah, yeah.
she also has this kind of like power where she can see the future in her dreams, and we found out that she had a dream about Orb.
Well, her dream is from
Yeah,
the past.
the very first episode that we saw, where it's like Orb and his like shining bright
Yeah,
form taking
but
on the other kaiju.
and eventually we're gonna find out why she keeps seeing that.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, she keeps seeing that past event, and she doesn't understand why. Um, and it's pretty interesting
yeah.
how how
I
that.
figured because as soon as she brought that up, like, and the episode ends after that, but as soon as she brought that up, that was like a big like ball that drops. I'm just like, wait, what? And
Yeah.
then the episode ends, and I'm like, wait, no, wait, go back. I need more. What are you talking about?
Uh, so, um, so episode 8 opens up with a fishmonger, fish seller, talking to a customer. Um, they have a little chat about fish sale prices and everything, and then
Yeah,
basically close up shop. You see him gathering a bunch of fish, and he goes off somewhere else.
yeah.
And
We see like these two like yellow eyes staring at him from the darkness.
yeah,
They're
and
like, oh, God,
kind of
a kid.
stalking him,
Yeah,
and then turns out that it's a kid playing hide and seek with him, essentially.
yeah. And so like it's these like two like mermaid creatures that can like they look like the creature from the Black Lagoon,
Yeah.
so like a bit more goofy looking, and
So
like adult and there's a child version. But yeah, like
yeah,
he seems to have like befriended both of them. Like he even gives the kid like a little toy boat.
yeah. So after he gives him the fish, he gives the child a toy boat, which
Yeah.
excites the child. And um, so so that pretty much is that. And then it cuts to Naomi having a dream about Juggler and Guy, and
Yeah, where
I think
guy
Guy
yeah
Guy transforms in it.
no, I don't think so. I think it's just human form.
Well, because she wakes up and she's doing like the same pose that he does when he trains into
Yeah, but I
Ultraman.
don't think he was transforming because I think what happens is that like he jumps up, he like flies off, I think, and
Oh,
then she's like in a
oh
fall.
yeah, yeah,
But it's funny because like in the dream, he's holding her and he like bursts through the ceiling.
yeah. That's right. He
And I'm like,
grabs
what
her.
the I'm like, dude, you just like broke how many bones in her body?
Yeah,
But then like it cuts to her like this, like waking up in a Superman pose. Even like
standing.
yeah, even like Jet and Shin are both looking at her like, what the hell are you doing?
Um, so after they get done teasing her about her dream, they catch wind about fish disappearing and start to debate the cause of it. Uh, then it cuts to the fish market, and you see the mer mother um, try, trying very badly to disguise itself and uh, going to the market to find the fishmonger. Um, and essentially, you find out because it doesn't speak English or anything, it has to like pantomime. And so the guy figures out that she came looking for him because the kid's hungry. Um, and of course, a bunch of busybodies spotted the mer woman because again, just drew like a blanket over its head, not really covering it up.
Yeah, I love the reaction too when like the woman looks over at the mer creature and she's like this. She doesn't scream because like it would be like the cliche where it's just like like a monster, but like I love the fact that they just do that little subtle like reaction to her just going like this.
Yeah, like of
Like,
course it's a mer purpose.
yeah, and then it cuts away. I was like, all right, that's pretty funny.
Yeah. Um, so so basically the fishmonger closed up his shop and he's trying to talk with the mom. And while they're talking, all the local women come and they start pounding on
Yeah,
the
like
door.
the uncle,
And,
yeah, Naomi's uncle's there too. He's like trying to like
and,
back. He's trying to like give them like make them back up. He's like, all right, let me
yeah.
figure this out. All right, you're all like crowding me. Let me.
And then Naomi shows up and she starts pounding even harder.
Yeah, and he's like, what are you doing?
Um, so while this is going on, the fishmonger and the mermom gather up some food and sneak out like the back door, and they use an umbrella to kind of cover their exit as they walk past the group of people.
Yeah,
And
despite the fact that the feet of the mer creature is not covered,
yeah,
it's just that stupid blanket over the damn thing, and I'm like, dude, how is nobody gonna notice that? Even with Jet and Shin are there, they turn around and immediately notice the
yeah.
legs of the creature. I'm just like, you dumbass! Like, what did you think was gonna? Like, how did you not think nobody would notice it?
So, so speaking of shit and jet, they grab Naomi and
Yeah, and I love
she,
that. Yeah, and I love that. What Naomi's about to give like that, like that classic SSP charge, but they're both like, shut up. He's like,
yeah,
charge. And they're like all quiet, and then everybody else is like watching them leave, and then
and even the uncle's like,
he's like, huh? He's like, you don't have to back up that far away, and then it just
yeah.
cuts.
So they follow the guy and the mermom back to the hideout, and they run into him, and of course, at first they're like surprised, but then Shin realizes that the child's sick,
Yeah,
so he examines it, and they convince Naomi to sing a lullaby for it, and so she starts humming a tune, and it calms the child down, makes him feel better, or her
yep.
feel better. Um, and then, right at that same moment, Guy pops in, like just out of nowhere. He's like, "You guys all got to get out of here."
Yeah, he's like, so there's a kaiju on the way right now.
Yeah,
I think better hightail it out of here. And of course, as soon as he says that, that's when the kaiju appears.
and it's like a big kind of gopher looking thing with a drill for a nose.
Yeah, we get dollar store Guron from Gamera versus Guron.
Yeah.
That's literally what I thought about. I was like, oh my god, it just looks like Guron, but the dollar store version, the Diet Coke version.
Um, so
Yeah, but
all
it
of them,
shows up
all
because like it's like run out of like food, like seafood to eat.
yeah,
So
it was
they're
eating
like,
all the fish in the bay.
yeah, so they're like, well, what is it here for? There's nothing on land they would want to eat. And then they look behind them at the mer people. They're like, All right.
Yeah. So they start fleeing, but then the kid,
Yeah, he goes back to the toy boat
yeah,
like a
and
dumbass.
so the kaiju dips its nose into the building and pulls the kid out on top of its drill bit nose,
Yeah,
and then flips it into the air and swallows it whole.
and eats the kid. I was surprised. I thought Orb was gonna come and like grab it like the last second, but no, it gets fully eaten, and I'm like, oh shit! I'm like, no,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh no, the kid. But then, of course, as soon as that happens, that's when Orb is just like, all right, transform, and like turns into what does he turn into? Does he go into base form, or does he turn to Taro?
I think he does. No, not. I forget which form he started off in. Dang it.
It might be the base form, or does he go straight to Hurricane Slash?
It might have been Burn Might because he basically just like picks the thing. No, he does go to Slash because he has to use the orb, the Slugger lance to push it off of him and
Yeah.
to expose its belly.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay then. So yeah, he goes into Hurricane Slash form, and he like immediately like starts like punches the thing in the throat, and that's when like it coughs up the kid, and like that's when Aura manages to grab the little kid and like put
Yeah,
it
it's
down.
got a blowhole and spits the kid out that way.
Yeah. So I was like, ah, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
So and then after that, I think he switches to his base form and does kind of like does a special
Yeah, he does like this kind of
bubble,
like this orb thing where like he places an orb around the kaiju and just like pushes it back into.
pushes it out to sea.
Yeah, because he didn't want to kill it because like all it was doing really was just coming after food. It wasn't coming after destroy the city. It was like,
Yeah.
no, I'm just hungry. I just want food. It was just acting like an animal. So he's like, I'm not gonna kill it.
So after that, it cuts to the group walking the mer people to
Back to
like a
the
docking,
yeah,
like where you'd like dock a small rowboat or something like that.
yeah, the small boat, like they're all there.
Um, and so before they go into the water, the kid basically asks Naomi to sing for him again, and so she starts singing a tune, which draws Orb's or Guy's attention.
Yeah, because it's the same tune that
He
he sings
plays.
the harmonica.
Yeah. And she's like, I don't know. I've just always known it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that, gives him kind of, kind of hesitation because it's like, it's not a normal tune.
Yeah, so he's like, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, but he indulges in it, and he plays the harmonica while she's like singing, and the two more people kind of like walk out into the sea, but they don't like just walk into the ocean. They kind of like
Fade into it. Yeah.
And like these little like small blue orbs, whatever, and they kind of just like split up and like go into the water.
And then
okay.
Guy starts walking away and then offers to get dinner for everybody.
Yeah, it's a nice scene.
So
and that's when the episode ends.
Yep.
Yeah.
So then we jump to episode 9. Opens up with Juggler and the Alien Syndicate talking about how to defeat Orb.
Mm-hmm. And they're like, well, he seems to care a lot about the humans, and the humans seem to care a lot about him.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a chance we can make them turn on each other somehow. So they're like, how will we like make it seem like Orb is turned evil and like destroy like a bunch of cities so that way people lose their faith in him.
Yeah.
So that's when like this other kind of like this other alien that we haven't seen before pops up.
Its name is Babalu.
Yeah, Babalu, something like that. And yeah, he shows up
and he's got so what's funny about this alien is it's got like a blonde wig on its head.
Yeah.
imagine Ultraman with a wig.
Yeah, he's got like these 2 white horns and like this kind of like face mask on him and then a blonde wig.
And his like costume's like gold and black, which plays a theme in this. But basically, he's able to disguise himself into whatever he wants. So they convince him to turn into Orb and attack the city to destroy Orb's credibility.
Yeah, so he's like, okay.
So, so then it cuts to Guy and the SSP group at a restaurant eating, and Orb's like, Guy's eating like 2 or 3 double burgers at the same time.
Yeah, he's got like because Jet like bought him 2 extra like burgers because
Yeah,
like, he has this intention where I'll give him 2 burgers and he's gonna help me out with the equipment when we need to shoot.
yeah. Um, so they're eating, and then they hear a commotion outside,
Hmm.
and everybody's like, Orb's here," and of course, Guy's like, "Huh? What you talking about, Wiz?"
He's like, wait a second. He's like, that
And
doesn't seem right.
so they run out, and the fake Orb shows up, and just as he's about to like start doing something, another kaiju pops out and attacks him.
Yeah, he's like, wait, what? He's like, wait, I wasn't. Wait, this is a part of the job. I wasn't expecting to actually fight a kaiju.
And so he literally asks Don, like, what am I supposed to do? And Don's like, well, protect yourself for one thing.
Yeah, so he's just like, okay. So he just like ends up getting his ass kicked most of the time by the kaiju.
Yeah. And he does something that gets it to. I think he runs away, and the kaiju just takes off or something.
No, he doesn't run away. He fights the kaiju like a good portion of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he gets his butt kicked at first, but then he's like, all right, that's it, I had enough. So then he like starts pounding on the kaiju, like starts like kicking it away, and then that's when like it runs off because he's like, yeah, come back from that jerk.
Right.
Yeah, but then everybody's just like, huh, like that's weird. We don't really see him act like that, kind of cowardly and kind of just like a kid.
Oh, and I forgot to mention that before the kaiju popped up and attacked the fake orb, Guy was about to transform, but Jeddah ran up and grabbed him, and he had to quickly hide his ring before Jeddah saw it.
Yeah, he was about to like transform, and then Jet showed up. He's like, "What are you doing? You gotta help me with the equipment." And he's like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah. So after the kaiju disappears, the fake orb fades away, and he reverts back to like his normal form, but he's human size again, and he's kind of limping away because he's got kicked. You know, he got his butt kicked, and Jeddah and Orb show up, and just as Jeddah starts approaching him, he does his transformation trick and changes into like a human mode, and his human mode is wearing like a black and gold outfit with blonde hair and flip flops.
Yeah, it's very interesting, like form.
Yeah. So Guy realizes that like Guy and Babalu recognize each other like immediately.
Yeah, he's like what? Or the guy's just like, so what you doing? What are you up to?
But before like either of them can really say anything to each other, Jeddah's just like all excited because he's like, "It's Orb! Like you're a hero! Like oh my gosh!" And
yeah, and like the kids are there too. Or like a bunch of kids even show up.
And so Guy is brought along, as you mentioned before, to act as a cameraman, and Jet has all the kids like hanging out and playing with them and stuff. And at first he's like, Babu was like, no, like get away from me. But then he starts to see how much fun the kids are having, and he starts playing with them and engaging with them and stuff. And you can see that he's starting to have second thoughts about what he's doing.
Yeah, because he's kind of just like, so this is what you kind of like receive when you're a hero. He's like, huh, that doesn't sound too bad. Like even we get a bit of Jet backstory where like he wanted to be a hero, where we see him like as a little kid, have a cape on and stuff like that, and his dad is sitting down with him, and he's like, a real hero is not one that goes looking for trouble or like goes in looking for a fight. It's a hero is like somebody who's willing to put themselves on the line for another person out of like selflessness.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then, like, he shares that kind of like knowledge with what's his name again?
Babalu.
Yeah, Babalu. He shares that knowledge with them, and Babalu kind of takes that to heart.
Um, so as they're the day is kind of wrapping up and everything, uh, the Don gets pissed off, so he has another kaiju sent in.
Yeah, because it's just like, what? He's like, what the hell are you doing? You were supposed to get down there and cause chaos, and you're doing none of that.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna have this alien kill you.
So Babalu transforms and he does change into Orb again to try and fight the kaiju, but he quickly gets uh, severely damaged and reverts back to like his true form, but still in like kaiju size.
Yeah.
Um, and
What did this
so
kaiju look like? I forget what this one looked like.
I forgot too.
Man, I'm telling you, damn it! I don't think these designs were as good as the last ones.
uh,
Yeah.
um, so then Guy transforms into Orb and steps in to help save Babalu.
Yeah.
Pretty much quickly dispenses with the enemy kaiju.
Yeah, because like Babalu, like he goes into his original, he gets kicked into his original form, but the people, like the kids and Jet, still cheer him on.
Yeah,
So he like you think he's gonna like start gaining some like strength or the upper hand, but the kaiju just is too powerful for him. So that's
yeah,
when he steps in and he's like, all right, forget this. So then he like just obliterates the thing.
yeah. And then so Babalu fades away, and everybody thinks that he's dead.
Yeah,
Uh,
but then we cut away and we see Babalu like in
the
his
the next the next day.
yeah, we still see him. Well, no, wait, before that we still see him in that his alien form, but he's like human size and he's kind of just like holding himself. He's like, ah, God. But then that's when Jet and Guy meet up with him.
Mm,
Or no, I think Jet and like some two kids, I think, and Guy meet up with him,
yeah,
and that's when he kind of just gives him like a good old thumbs up because like they say thank you, and they're like saying that like you're still a hero in our hearts or something like that, and kind of gives him a thumbs up, and then that's when he disappears.
yeah.
Yeah, but then the next day we see Guy and
Guy
Jet.
and Jet
Yeah,
in the park, and
yeah, yeah.
Jet's like kind of
He's,
bemoaning the
yeah, he's
loss,
spoken. Yeah, he's spoken about.
and Guy looks over and he's like, "Yeah, I wouldn't count him as gone."
Yeah,
And
he's still around because like we see this like guy dressed up like kind of like a janitor looking person where like he picks up like something for like this little kid and mom's just like thank you, and that's when he kind of gives Guy a look and he does like that face
this
mask thing that he's like been doing for like the entire episode. Like he does like that with his face.
he wiggles his jaw. That's
Yeah, yeah, because like he does that. He did that with his mask a lot when he was in his form. He would go like that.
well, no, he would grab it and wiggle his jaw. That was his transformation technique.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right. Yeah, he did that with his jaw, and then of course, Guy immediately recognizes that, and he's like, I wouldn't worry too much about him.
yeah,
Yeah, and then it cuts him, and then that's when the episode ends. So he's still around, so I'm sure we're going to be seeing that character pop up again, which will be very interesting to see.
yeah. So we'll jump right into episode 10.
Yes.
Starts off right away with Naomi returning from
This
one of
one's
her part-time jobs.
yeah, it's like this very kind of like tense moment where all the guys were like her uncle and Jet and shit are like looking at her, and they all look scared because they're
Well,
like, what are you doing?
because apparently at this point she's been working at a restaurant for a couple days, and each day she comes back with this like spicy leftover.
Yeah, and like
And
I think it's cold too. So like they're all like, oh god, it's spicy and it's cold. It's like a
yeah,
terrible combination.
and so they're like, we've already got reservations for
Yeah, they're
dinner,
like,
so we're going.
I just remember I have to go do something. Yeah, we already have reservations at the restaurant. Goodbye. But of course, Guy's like left there, and so she's like, would you want some? And he's like,
Like, hands him like 3.
yeah, and he's like, okay, fine.
So then it cuts to Juggler back on the UFO talking with the alien syndicate, and the alien that was hunting the group down earlier Juggler is giving him his fortune, which of course he doesn't like, and that's when Don comes up to him. And he's like, "Hey, I know you're here for this," and he shows him Belial's card, which is what he's after. And he's like, "If you want this, I need you to go and kill Orb for me." And so he gives him the Black King card to use to fight Orb with. Um, and then it cuts back, or after he takes off, we see the alien and the Don kind of talking about, you know, like how they can't really work with Juggler.
Yeah.
So cuts back to the SSP headquarters, and we see Guy tearing through the leftovers, and Naomi, like him and Naomi start talking about it, and then all of a sudden Juggler appears and flat out tells Guy he wants to kill him.
Yeah.
And then
he's like, I could kill you, but I could also kill Naomi, since you care about her so much.
And so he basically tells Guy to meet him at sunrise.
Yeah, so they can finish this.
Yeah. So of course Naomi's like, "No, you don't have to go," and he's like, "No, I got to do this, but I'll return."
Yeah, I got to end this.
So then it shows Don, cuts to the Don real quickly, kind of again talking about his plan to basically backstab Juggler.
Mm-hmm.
And then so then it cuts to Guy and Juggler meeting in a field, and essentially immediately start fighting.
Yeah, so they get a really cool fight between the two of them, and then that's when they bring it up a notch where Juggler pulls out a kaiju card, and it's the Black King, which is honestly the coolest kaiju design out of the 5 episodes. I really like the design of this kaiju.
Yeah,
that's when Guy turns into Orb.
And before that, Guy does it. Juggler's taunting Guy about his past, and he has a flashback again of where the season opened.
Yeah, the girl. Yeah.
So yeah, Juggler summons the Black King. Orb transforms into Hurricane Slash first, but it really can't do anything, so he switches to Burn Might. And the attacks seem to still be pretty ineffective.
Mm-hmm.
And as he's struggling to fight with the alien, of course, Juggler's taunting him from nearby.
Yeah, the other alien that has been like the most aggressive or the most kind of annoyed with Juggler.
Yeah,
he pops up and he just shoots Juggler down.
Yeah, shoots him once from behind.
Yeah,
and then which gets Juggler's attention. He slowly turns around because he looks injured and everything. And then the alien shoots him again in the heart. And he turns around to face Orb, and Orb looks down at him. And then he falls backwards, and there's a big explosion, which pisses off Orb. And so the aliens tell Black King to kill Orb, but he's so enraged he goes into his dynamite mode and finally kills the Black King.
Yeah.
So then it cuts back to the SSP base, and Naomi's looking at the clock, looking at the door, kind of freaking out because she hasn't seen or heard anything from Guy yet. And then she hears motion coming from the door, and she gets all excited thinking it's Guy, but it's just Shin and Jenna coming back in.
Mm-hmm.
And they're making their usual noise, clocking in and everything. And you can see that she's down, a little bit distraught about it.
Yeah, because she's been waiting for Guy to show back up, which, of course, he does.
Yeah, a minute later, he comes kind of stumbling upstairs.
He's all tired, kind of worn out.
But he puts on a face. He kind of shakes it off to not scare her when he comes through the door.
Yeah.
And then so she smiles, and then it cuts to the UFO and the alien and the Don talking about how awesome it was that they backstabbed Juggler and got his cards. And
And as soon as they do that, the alien's just like, yeah, we did. And you're like, wait, what? And this freaking Juggler's like right behind him, like stabbed him.
yeah,
And that's when Don is just like, oh, I thought you died.
yeah. And so Don tries to attack Juggler, but Juggler transforms into like his true form.
Yeah, his alien form, which is awesome looking, by the way.
Yeah, really cool. And he just immediately slices down to Don.
Yeah, he like literally slices him there, and like he turns around for like a second, and then just like
Impales him.
yeah,
And so they're both dead, and he gets all the cards.
Yep, and then the card that he has been trying to grab this whole time has Belial on it.
Yep.
And as soon as I saw Belial, I was like, "Oh shit, Belial, bro, he's here!" Because I know Belial, I know him. Because like I got introduced to him with like the toy of his like kaiju form that had like crystals on its back. So I saw that at first. I was like, "Oh shit, that's an awesome looking kaiju. What is that?" And then I got deeper into the lore of Belial, and I was like, "Oh, this is actually really cool." So I already was familiar with the character. So seeing him again, I was like, "Oh wow, they're bringing him in. Damn, that's gonna be awesome." Yeah, that's the end of episode 10.
Yes. So, good episodes. Couple forgettable kaiju, obviously.
Yeah.
But overall, the plots were pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, just think about like how well we remember half of these kaiju designs of these episodes. What did that kaiju look like again? I don't know.
So something a little fun. I found a pretty good deal on eBay for Orb's ring and his cards, and then also or the ring with some of the cards, and then his little card holder with a whole bunch of more other cards. So found pretty good deals, both used, but figured it was worth a shot. So I got those ordered.
Oh, nice.
So hopefully they arrive soon, and then maybe on one of the podcasts if they come in, I can show them.
Yeah, you can even do the full on guy pose that he does.
So
yeah.
So I take it you're still enjoying the series so far?
Yeah, no, I'm still enjoying it. I'm especially after episode 10. I'm like very interested to see, like specifically episode 9 and episode 10. I thought were the most interesting, so I'm very excited to see where the series goes from here. Yeah, because the Syndicate just got taken out like that. So I was like, oh, I thought we'd be dealing with them a lot more. I guess they're dead. Yeah. Never mind. So Juggler is still the main antagonist so far, and now we have Belial coming in, which is going to be a hell of a thing because Belial's he's like pretty strong. This is the entire. Yeah. Listen, people. There's an entire scene of him taking on the entire army of Ultraman on their home planet, and he kicks all of their asses.
Yes.
So if he's that powerful against all of them, I don't think Orb's going to do that much.
What's interesting is Belial plays a big factor in a lot of the series from this era, and in the Ultraman Geed series, he is literally the father of Ultraman Geed.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just a really cool dynamic. Like,
yeah, to have an Ultraman where they started off part of the light, but then they like just went full dark mode.
Yeah.
Especially with Belial, because like I think Belial was kind of odd or like a bit different than the other ones, because like there's a scene I remember seeing of him like killing 2 aliens that were already like surrendering.
Yeah.
And one of the Ultramen saw him do that, and they're like, "What the hell, dude? Like they were done. They weren't a threat anymore." And he's like, "Eh." So then that's when they like kicked him out. They were like, "All right, you're done."
Yeah. And he's been a thorn in their side ever since.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. But yeah, next week we'll be back on our usual day of Friday.
Yes.
And we will be talking about episodes 11 through 15. Find out how the first half of the series plays out. See what kind of surprises we encounter,
Yes,
and
twists and turns await us.
and get prepared for the second half.
Yep.
So, again, if you watched to this point, we thank you for checking out our video, and please leave a comment below. Let us know your thoughts if you've seen the series or if we've sparked your interest in watching it. If you do, please come back and let us know what you think. And again, please hit the like and subscribe button. Please share it. We're a new channel and we're trying to grow. So hitting those likes and everything helps us out. And until next time, have fun.
Laters.